Oh no.
I think I think one of us has our speaker on, and now it's gone. Wonderful. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Welcome to today's webinar, and it is the topic of practicalities. But before we get started, I would like to once again congratulate every one of you on your admission. It has not been easy and it has been a long process. We started in October and about 14,000 applications came into Chalmers and only about 1,500 people got admitted. And so you are one of these people. It has been a very difficult thing, and you have clearly shown how dedicated you are and how strong of a candidate each one of you is. You have shown us this. And I really, really look forward to seeing what wonderful things you will do on campus and by joining our community. My name is Abhilash, and I work with student support, just like my two other colleagues here, Linda.
Hi.
And Titis. Wonderful. And we are actually a team of 4 people. But today we are a team of 6 people. We have sometimes people that come into our team and sometimes they are not part of our team. But we are a total of 4 people that work with student support in general. We have one more person who actually works making sure that our website is updated and has all the information that you have so diligently been consuming. And then we have one other person who is actually working with us today as an intern from another university in Sweden. Today's topic is practicalities, and I'll show you a little bit of what's going on, and then we'll get on to the actual presentation. So the rules for today are that we are recording this, as you may have already noticed. If you haven't, now you do. We are using this for internal purposes. So the idea is not to necessarily make it available to you. However, the presentation will be made available to you at a later point in time. So a PDF version of this presentation will be sent to you. The Q&A is turned off right now. The Q&A button will be made available to you after the presentation is finished, and then you may raise your questions. At that point in time, please do not spam the question box. Instead, ask your question only once and make it very clear, because we will only be able to answer a certain number of questions. There is no guarantee that we will answer all questions today, which is exactly why it is very good for you to get in touch with us through email. So study@chalmers.se, or using the chat that we have. So many of you have already used a chat option with us. You have either spoken to our student ambassadors or with us. So you can continue to use those options on our website. It's simply to make an account on the platform called Unibuddy that is embedded on our website. You can also see a QR code to my bottom right corner, and you can see that on the bottom right corner of everybody. And that QR code is, if you scan that, it will take you to what is called a Unibuddy community. This is a totally private community for you and only you. None of us have access there, which means that you get to talk to each other and everybody else that is admitted to Chalmers. You can discuss any topic. There are a number of small groups in there, and you can check those groups. And if you find out there is a group that doesn't exist, then you can, of course, also suggest a new group, which will be reviewed by us and accepted. So we only see the group names. We do not see who is in it or what is being discussed in it. So this is entirely private and entirely for you. Please feel free to use it to find friends, to find out roommates if you want, or travel buddies. And there are lots of other opportunities that you might be able to explore through Unibuddy communities. With that, what does the pre-departure schedule look like? Well, here is the digital pre-departure schedule that we are physically now digitally hosting for you. And that is the presentation that we had yesterday, where the vice president of the university, Jürgen, the president of the student union, Sebastian, and the president of the Chalmers International Reception Committee, Varsha, they joined us and they welcomed you. Many of you have been part of that. And today, now we are going to be going through practicalities. On the physical side, there are many countries around the world where the Swedish embassy is hosting pre-departure events. So this could be Indonesia. Actually, Titis is traveling to Indonesia next week to attend this pre-departure event. There are events being held in Thailand, in Turkey, and several other countries. So please, if you want to know whether your country is hosting a pre-departure event through the Swedish Embassy, please check the Study in Sweden website to find out which countries have these pre-departure activities. Not every country is hosting it. The Swedish Embassy in certain countries is hosting these kinds of events. And even if we are not, even if Chalmers is not physically attending or digitally attending, you are more than welcome to attend those events, because the topics that they discuss there will be extensions of topics that we discuss here. They may not always apply to you as a Chalmers student, but the general premise of what they discuss will definitely apply to you. Moving on, the next steps in your process. So there are certain things that you need to think about. Recently, you received your admissions results, of course, and immediately after that, you should have received your invoices. And the email address to which these invoices were sent was the email address that you have on university admissions. So if you have not already found your invoice, or you have, then please check that email address. And if you cannot find it in the inbox, fine, check the other folders and the spam boxes and things like that, because it may have gotten sorted depending on your email provider. It may have gotten sorted into a different folder. If you have any questions regarding tuition fees, you should be contacting tuitionfees@chalmers.se. So the email address is tuitionfees@chalmers.se. Scholarship process is still ongoing. The final notifications about these will come out at the end of April. The tuition fee deadline is the 1st of May, which means that you will need to make sure that you you finish paying your tuition fees by that time. Deadline extensions are possible, even if we don't clearly want to give them. My recommendation to you once again is to contact tuitionfees@chalmers.se. You have to start your residence permit process as early as possible. So here is something, before I continue, I want to explain something to you. This morning, we had another webinar, and that webinar was for non-fee paying students. Now we are speaking to you, and you are fee paying students. This includes scholars, because only fee paying students can get scholarships. The information that we gave in the morning is different from the information that you are getting. And the reason is because there is some information that is only applicable to them. And today, now, when we are speaking with you, there is this information that is only applicable to you. They do not pay fees, so they do not talk about tuition fees. We do not talk about scholarships with them. We do not talk about housing with them, at least not in the form of a guarantee. Whereas with you, we will talk about the housing guarantee and things like that. So when you go on to Unibody Community on that QR code, do not confuse each other. Do not give each other information that will mislead somebody. Always ensure that if you have to answer a question, make sure that you're answering a question that you know is going to be correct for that person based on their background and their needs. If you're unsure at any point in time, do not answer it. Instead, send them to us. Best thing that you can do at any point in time is, whenever there is a discussion, if you realize that this might not be the right thing, send them to us. We will be able to point people in the right direction, give them the right kind of indications as they might need. So we will move on now, once again, coming back to the tuition fee payment deadline and the last recommended date for residence permits. So those of you that are fee paying students are usually the ones that also need to apply for a residence permit. And there is a clause inside the tuition fee reimbursement requirements that if you make a student residence permit application after the 15th of June, your fees cannot be reimbursed if you do not get a residence permit. So the reason for this is because the residence permit process takes a long time. The Swedish Migration Agency needs at least 3 months. And therefore, 15th of June is the very last date that we will accept that you will make an application. We, Chalmers, right? If you make an application to the residence permit after the 15th of June and you don't get the residence permit on time, or you get denied, we can't help you. And we won't be able to reimburse your fees. So be careful about this. Make sure that you pay your fees as early as possible and start your residence permit application as soon as you have finished paying your fees. We'll get back to all of these things in a later slide also. Mid-June is when your housing process will start, because as you see, the 1st of May is the deadline for tuition fees. Any extensions will go into June, and only those people that have paid fees will be offered the guarantee of accommodation. So we want to know exactly who we are going to be offering the guarantee, which is why we will start the housing process in mid-June or end of June. At that point in time, you'll receive more information about this. We might host a webinar about housing at that point in time, but if there is none, that's okay. The information that has to come to you will either come to you by email or by another method. From the 12th of August to the 1st of September is something very important that you must do. In order to study at Chalmers, you will need a Chalmers email account. You will need a Chalmers account in general to also access any digital services that we offer, including the learning platform called Canvas and so on and so forth. This you will do on the 12th of August, right? So I want you all to put into your calendar right now. Put into your calendar right now that 12th of August, I'm going to go to the Chalmers website and I am going to activate my account and then do my online enrollment. Both of these things, if you finish already on the 12th of August, you finish something very, very important, and it takes about 15 minutes at most, not more than that. So 12th of August, online enrollment and activation of Chalmers account. 14th of August to the 8th of September is when you need to be on campus to physically enroll. So it's not enough to only enroll digitally. You need to enroll also physically. And so that means that you need to do this between the 14th of August and the 8th of September. You can come to campus and then enroll yourself. Make sure that you are saying, here is my ID card or my passport. This is who I am. I am registering myself. I've already activated my Chalmers account and my online enrollment is completed. That's from the 14th of August. So if you want to come to Sweden before the school starts on the 1st of September. You can arrive on the arrival day. And this date has not been decided yet, but it will be in the end of August. So if you arrive on that day between working hours, which is 8 a.m. in the morning until 5 p.m. in the evening, approximately these hours, students from the student organization called Chalmers International Reception Committee will come to the airport and they will welcome you. And then they will help you find your way into the city. And when you arrive in the city, there will be other student volunteers who are waiting there to show you the directions to the destination, that is where you are living, or the housing office that you need to go to collect your keys and so on and so forth. They will help you with this. You might also get a flight shuttle ticket from them. And maybe if you're nice, you might get a hug. So, and then of course, at the end of August, there will also be an orientation week. This will be a week where you get some information from the university, and there will be some other information from the student union, followed by an entire month, if not 2 months, of reception activities. And Chalmers International Reception Committee, the same people who came to the airport the same students will be the ones that are organizing these activities. These are social activities designed in such a way that you get to meet each other and make that global network that you are actually looking for. As I said, the 1st of September is your first day of the autumn semester. Now let's get on to the actual presentation. Practicalities, right? Let's start with the tuition fees. So tuition fees are applicable to all students who have been admitted as citizens of non-EU or EEA countries. Right? So if you're not a Swiss citizen, you're not an EU citizen, you're not an EEA citizen, which means you need to pay fees. What is the fees that you need to pay? For the first semester, you will be paying 80,000 Swedish crowns if you are not an architecture student. If you are an architecture student, you will be paying 105,000 Swedish crowns. This is the full fees for that semester. If you have a scholarship, then of course you are paying whatever is left out of that scholarship result. We will come to scholarships on the next slide. The tuition fees includes these other things. It includes a guarantee of accommodation, one offer, right? Only one offer. You will pay the rent, of course. You will take care of your living expenses and everything like that. We will make one offer. And when I say we, I mean our collaboration with a housing company is what is making that offer to you. When it comes to the student union membership, that is included in your fees already. You will also be guaranteed a Swedish language course. This is in addition to that Swedish language course that you can get from from the government. So from the municipality of Gothenburg, there is something called Swedish for immigrants. You can get that after you get your Swedish personal identity number. That is also a slide that we have. We will get to that in a minute. But once you get that number, you can register for Swedish for immigrants, which means that you will get another Swedish course as well, in addition to the one that we are offering. Then, of course, every year is 60 credits, which means that in 2 years, you will accumulate 120 credits. So you cannot get more than that. If you want more than that, you will pay per credit. It will be included introductory course of 3 credits, which is either design methodology or a preparatory course or something in MATLAB. There is also an introductory course in something called tracks, something that I will show you when I share my screen and show you the website and where you should go to do certain things. And then, of course, an elective course within the tracks environment. Remember, once again, the deadline is the 1st of May. Next, we have scholarships. Scholarships is 2 slides. So here we are going to be talking about the fact that the process is still going on. The results come out on a weekly basis. Most of the results have already come out. So very few results are left. And those results are mostly based on whether students are saying no to their scholarship. And therefore, they are also declining their admission, which means that this also affects in some ways the reserve list and things like that. So those of your friends that might be wondering about reserves and things like that, this is what's happening. There will be a student who says, I don't want my admission, or they say, I don't want my scholarship, which means that they also don't want their admission. In that case, that they usually drop off, in which case somebody from a reserve list comes in, right? So that's what your friends are wondering about, if there are any of your friends who are in that situation. There is also a situation where they might get another scholarship. Like, for example, they might have gotten an SI scholarship. In that case, they might say no to a Chalmers scholarship because an SI scholarship is a much larger scholarship. That can also lead to somebody else getting a scholarship. So these are the kinds of results that are coming out now. So most of the bulk of the scholarship results have already gone out. The process will finish at the end of April. And those who have not been awarded a scholarship will also receive an email saying, sorry, we did not give you a scholarship by that time. If you have any questions about Swedish Institute scholarships, you should be contacting Swedish Institute. And if you have any scholarship questions regarding any other kinds of scholarships, you should be contacting those organizers. We and our scholarship office can only answer questions about the scholarships that we have, that we are offering, that we are administering. So check for on the scholarship webpage, scholarships that are administered by Chalmers, and those are the ones that we can answer questions about. And for any such questions, you will be contacting admissions@chalmers.se. Remember that the Chalmers scholarships are always for 2 years. So we don't have any 1-year scholarships or things like that. Also, once you start studying at Chalmers, you might be able to apply for some smaller scholarships as current students. Not the same kind of scholarships that we have on our website, which is like 75% tuition fee waivers and things like that. So these are much, much smaller in size. Also, for those of you that are Colombian citizens and for Mexican citizens, can I get a thumbs up if there are any Colombians joining us today? Hey, look at that. We have a few Colombians. That's nice. 2 Colombians. That's very nice. Now I would like to see a thumbs up if we have any Mexican citizens joining us today. Hey, look at that. Oh, we also have somebody that's a party person. Wonderful, wonderful. Party person from Mexico. Very well done. Thank you very much. So for those of you that are Mexicans and Colombians, you can apply for a Colfuturo financing, or you can apply for FUNED and FIDER financing. So these are 2 organizations that you might already know about. These are financing organizations in your country. Chalmers has an agreement with all of these 3 organizations. And that means that if you get a financing through them, and we nominate you, then you can get a 25% scholarship from us, which means that you won't need to take as much of a financing load from either Colfuturo, FUNED, or FIDER. So please keep that in mind and take a look at your options for financing if you are now thinking about financing. You can also take a financing after you start studying at Chalmers, but in that case, you will not be able to get the 25% scholarship from us. So unless you are taking this from the very beginning, we cannot give you the full 25% that we have been talking about. There is also other kind of organizations like LPDP in Indonesia. Can we get a thumbs up for all the Indonesian citizens? Excellent. Wow, there's a bunch of them. So Titis is going to come and see you in Indonesia. Please come to Jakarta. She will be able to see you. Let's see, can I see some party flags for students from Indonesia, from Thailand? Oh, there are no Thai students attending. We hope that you are, for those of you that are Thai students, I hope that if you are here and if you're not able to attend, of course, we of course are very concerned about your state. There is an earthquake that happened, so we hope that everything is all right. Are there any American students here? Anybody from the USA? Do we see party flags for the American students? Hey, look at that. We got some American students. That's nice. That's nice. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so this was just a little bit for us to kind of know who's in the audience. Of course, if I say India now, that it's just going to explode there. Can I get hearts from India? There we go.
So cute.
Can we get thumbs ups from China? There we go.
Oh.
We're getting hands from China as well. So yeah, I'm sure that we can go through the entire world and there will be flags and reactions. But this was, I mean, just to get an idea of how many people are attending and how the demography looks. I hope the scholarship information was useful enough. Please get in touch with these organizations directly to understand which calls are open and what you can apply for and things like that. Moving on, we have our slide about the residence permit. If you remember, I told you that the earlier you apply for your residence permit, the better. But in order for you to be able to do that, you need to finish paying your fees first, because the residence permit application is dependent on you paying your fees. The Swedish Migration Agency, also called Migrationsverket, is going to check automatically. They have access to our systems. So they will be able to check whether you have paid the fees or not. And the deadline for fee payment was the 1st of May, which means that you have at least a month before which you can start your application for your residence permit. But please, please, please make your application for residence permit as early as possible. There are a number of things that you need to have ready in order to make the application. Valid passport, there will be some insurance information that is already covered for you. So we will get to that as well. I have a slide on insurance, but you need to have all of these different things that are included. Please check the Swedish Migration Agency website to find out what is required and how you can make an application. It's an entirely online application and it's very easy, actually. You can't make mistakes there. And Chalmers has a 99.99% success rate on this process. So you don't have any issues if you make everything correct, right? You're not going to get rejected just because you are making an application. The point is that we are a very reputed university. We've been reputed as #1 in Sweden for the last 12 years in a row. So you are going to a very good university. You have nothing to worry about as far as this process is concerned. The only thing you can make a problem with is if you make a mistake in your application. So make sure that you go through all the requirements, collect all the documents, ensure that you apply on time. You should be safe. We said that we will talk about something called the Swedish Personal Identity Number. If you've ever heard of a concept called the Social Security number in the US, this is a similar concept. In India, it's called the UID number. In China, there is a certain version as well. Every country generally has a version of an identification number that each adult gets. And this is that kind of number that is used in Sweden. It allows you access to a lot of different things. To get it, you need to be in Sweden. So once you arrive in Sweden, you can fill out a form. You can take that form physically to the tax office, to the population register office, and make the application. And then in about a couple of weeks or a month, you should get your Swedish personal identity number. This number then gives you access to things like bank accounts, insurance, phone numbers, memberships for, let's say, a gym or a house or I mean, supermarkets and things like that. So there are lots of different ways in which you can have access, lots of different things that you can have access to through the Swedish personal identity number, right? So that's the first thing you can do after you arrive in Sweden. As far as insurance is concerned, something that you need to think about when we speak about insurance is healthcare and insurance. These are two separate things, but they're also connected to each other. Healthcare is subsidized in Sweden. Anybody that has a Swedish personal identity number gets subsidized healthcare, which means that it is tax funded. So you never pay full fees. You go to a clinic or you go to a hospital, you not pay full doctor's fees, you not pay full nurse's fees. You pay only one third of it or one half of it, right? That is how you do this. And this is basically a way by which we can have a higher standard of living, but a lower cost of living, right? Now, as far as insurance is concerned, you are insured by Chalmers for health purposes when you are on campus and when you travel from your apartment to the university and back. Direct transport between university and home is what is covered by the health insurance policy that we give you. We cannot cover everything else. So, therefore, what we recommend for you is to always buy another insurance when you are here. So, buy something like a home insurance or an accident insurance and things like that, so that you can insure yourself against other kinds of issues. For example, you might by mistake put coffee on your laptop, or your phone might fall into the toilet, or it might fall from the balcony, or whatever else, right? Like you might fall down, you might break a hand, you might need some complicated surgery or something like that. And if that happens, that might not be covered by the subsidized healthcare, or you might not be able to get any reimbursement for a broken phone or laptop. For that, you need to get another insurance. So buy your own insurance for your leisure, for your home, and any kind of accident. As far as living costs are concerned, this is an estimation that we are showing you. This could be 10,000 to 13,000 is a broad spectrum, but you can also have a cost of living that is under 10,000 or a cost of living that is higher than 13,000. And that is dependent on you and your lifestyle. Whatever you choose to create or use in your daily life is what is going to affect your cost of living. Your rent is going to be the largest part of your cost of living, and then comes possibly food, if not public transport. So these are the three major costs that you have. Then, of course, you will have things like books and mobile phone, internet, eating out at restaurants or cafes, and gym memberships and things like that will also come into the cost of living. Remember, you are responsible for all of these costs. We are not going to be coming in to tell you anything about it. You are responsible for your own lives. However, you can remember that we have a lot of student discounts, right? So the city offers you student discounts. There are student discounts on campus, so on and so forth. So one way to reduce cost of living is to cook your own food. One way you can also do it is to go to your student union cafe, or there is a pub there, there's a restaurant there, there are buildings and there are cafes inside most buildings and restaurants inside most buildings. So then you can also eat there. Those are cheap, but it is not going to be as cheap as you cooking in your own apartment. And we'll come to the housing question in a minute. But coming back to the cost of living thing, you can also reduce it by buying secondhand. Secondhand gives us, in Sweden, there's a very big secondhand culture. And this is basically a way by which we include a circular type of economy. So it becomes very sustainable and it's also cheap. This is also very good stuff in very good quality. So if you don't have all the kinds of furniture that you want in your apartment, you could go to a second-hand store and you can get furniture. If you want clothes, you can go to a second-hand store and you can get clothes. You can get winter jackets, you can get shoes, you can get plates and cups and saucers, you can get cutlery, you can get books, you can get all sorts of things on second-hand stores. So it's very, very useful if you use secondhand stores as your first stop to find the things that you need. On the left-hand side of your screen, you also notice a a blog post that Maria has written, which is about living costs. So you can check that. And that will also give you, so you can go to our website, you can go to the place where you chat with our students, and you can click on the button called content and then filter for living costs, and you will find this blog post. Right? You can also chat with our student ambassadors about the cost of living, and they can give you tips on what it is that they do to reduce their cost of living. This is something that is something that we are very, very proud of. We at Chalmers, we are an inclusive university. We are a university of diverse student body. We welcome anybody and everybody that wants to study and to contribute to society. So if you have any kind of documented permanent disability, it doesn't matter what it is, your problem will not be shared with anybody. There will be, of course, confidentiality around this. If you need to have any confidentiality around it, it can be maintained. The point is that you should take advantage of this opportunity if you have the possibility to do so. It is for those of you that have documented permanent disability. It's about, for example, things like dyslexia or neurodivergence, mental health issues. You might have something with a medical disability or a physical disability. It could be anything from diabetes. I do not know whether diabetes is classified under this, but it could be a lot of different things, right? Like a lot of different things fall into this category. And you can find information about this on nice.uhr.se, nais.uhr.se. The point here is that we support you. We give you all kinds of support regarding this. It could be reading and writing support. It could be somebody who writes notes for you. It could be somebody that takes notes for you and also writes your exams for you. It could be somebody that mentors you. It could be somebody that helps you with some kind of issue that you have. You need to talk to someone regularly. There's a lot of different kinds of things that you can get through this. So there's a web page on the Chalmers website called Disability Study Support, and there is this website called nice.uhr.se. Registering on this website early is a very good way for you to start the process, because it's going to be more difficult if you arrive on campus and then we have to start the process. We won't be able to prepare for you. It's better if you start this process early so that we can prepare for you. Take advantage of this as and how you feel it to be important for you. Then we have the point about career guidance counseling. And career guidance counseling is something that we offer all of you. That we have a career guidance counselor who can help you with all sorts of things, assist you with things like how do you transition into a work environment after you finish your studies? How do you go about finding a summer job or a thesis? Or how should you structure your CV or your motivation letter? This is not a person who is going to sit down and write your CV for you or correct your CV for you. This is a person who can give you guidance. They can tell you, think this way, talk to this person, take advantage of these resources. They organize a lot of different kinds of events where they bring in experts from industry or from society, right? So you get webinars, lectures, and alumni who come in and discuss things with you. So these are ways in which we help you with your career at the end of your studies. Now I want to go on to some bonus inspiration stuff, and we will do this rather quickly with the slides, and then I want to quickly also go through the website with you. Right. So we know that we receive a lot of questions about whether you can be research assistants. This question came up yesterday. Whether you can be teaching assistants. There's also questions about how do I get in touch with research groups or with professors, or how do I find out which publication belongs to which professor? There's also questions about how do I find my courses? How do I register for my courses? How do I choose the course that I want to take in the direction that I want to go? What kind of help can I find over there? And so on and so forth. So here are a few slides that quickly show you these kinds of things. You can find information on the Chalmers website, of course. Under the section called research, you will find all of these kinds of things. You can also go to the Chalmers University YouTube page where you find all the videos that we publish from there. We have another YouTube channel which is called We Are Chalmers, the same as the corner Instagram page. The same name is applicable to also the YouTube page. So we have two YouTube pages. But the We Are Chalmers YouTube page is not super updated, just so you know. Right? The Chalmers website, the Chalmers official YouTube page is definitely more updated than we are. Then we have, of course, this one where it's a question about how do I find a teacher? For example, you can simply go to your program page. You can click on the year one or the program plan part of the studies, and then you click on a course. That will show you who is teaching that course. And inside there, you can click on to personal page, and that will open up this third picture, which shows you their publications, their projects, so on and so forth. You can also go to the Chalmers Open Digital Repository. This is where you find things like the master's thesis within your department, for example, or your program. You can find things like student projects and many other things, papers and publications that we make available to the public. You can find them over here. We also have the student point of view, which, as I was saying, on YouTube, we are Chalmers, and we have the Instagram page. We also have, as I told you, just like the QR code on the right, on my right side, you can also see it over here. This QR code is the same that will take you to that community to get in touch with each other. And then we have the contact information, which I was speaking of in the beginning. Now I'm going to quickly share my screen and find this web page that I want to show you so that we can also go through that with you. Just a second. I'm going to go here. I'm going to say share, and I will say share. Okay, so if we come here, you are all aware of this page called key dates, right? So it is chalmers.se/key dates. And that is this page that we just launched. And over here, you have all of these different dates that we were showing you in the very beginning. As we go further down, you will find a little thing that's called new student. You can find this new student by going to education and clicking on new student. When we click on new student, we will find two blocks. What you need to do as a new student, find out more about reception. There's also a little menu over here. And here you can see what you can do as a new student and many other things over here. We'll simply click on this thing here, what you need to do as a new student. Now, on that page, we will see there are 10 things you can do. Now I'm going to zoom out just so you see what's going on, right? So over here, you can see there are 10 things that you've got to do, and these are in the order in which you should do it. So if you remember, I told you need to activate your account. So in some cases, some of you may have received an information on university admissions that says you need to confirm your admission. And in that case, go ahead and do that. In general, you do not need to do this. So step 1, complete. Next, step 2, activating your Chalmers account. When do you do this? 12th of August. So on the 12th of August, we go here and we click on this and we activate our account. Then we come down and we do our online enrollment also on the 12th of August. Once you finish 2, you go to step 3. Step 4 was on the 14th of August. We come here and we confirm our presence on campus. Then we make sure that our information is updated, our contact information is updated on Lawdoc. Preferably, you want to have the same information that you use on university admissions. But if you want to change it, you can, of course, go ahead and change it. Then you can see your schedule. After you've registered is when you can start seeing your schedule. Up until then, you won't be able to see much in terms of a schedule because you have not registered, which means no courses have been assigned to you, right? So that's that over here, time edit. And then we talked about the learning platform that you will have access to once you have activated your Chalmers account. It's called Canvas. This is what is used by the teachers, for example, to get in touch with you, to share notes with you and things like that. You will find your course literature through this link, and you will be able to talk about or find out more information about your student union website, your access card and things like that over here. Finally, information about your reception and the orientation week. Right? So there are 10 steps. And remember, these websites and web pages are very long and very detailed. So pay attention to what information you find on these web pages because there is a lot of information and reading is what you should be doing always. We can continue and we will see a few other pages. This is the page about housing. Now, you don't have to think about housing because you are guaranteed one offer and your process will start only in mid-June. The only thing you can do up until then is, as far as housing is concerned, is to look at this part called students with housing guarantee. And that should take you to this part here. And over here, you can see what are the details of the guarantee, and you can also see what are the rights and obligations. Usually, these are single occupancy apartments, which means that only one person can stay in an apartment at a time. These are student apartments, which means they are dimensioned and built in such a way to be student friendly. So it's not just that the rent is cheap, it's also that it is not always the biggest apartment you can find. It's usually between 14 and 22 square meters in size, and it might include both a kitchen and a toilet, or you might share one or both of those amenities with somebody or with people in your corridor. Um, if we go further, you also have under education over here. So this is once again the Chalmers website, right? We go to the Chalmers website, we click on education, and we can see your studies. And over here, you will be able to see a whole bunch of other things that are relevant to you. There are some notifications that's going on, whatever's happening on campus. There are some shortcuts to things like services and tools, digital stuff that you can use, your schedule, contacts for the master's programs, examinations and tests, how you find your courses and syllabi, common areas and group rooms. There's a calendar of things that's going on, news articles that are happening. There are more information about examinations. There's information about important dates, scholarships that you can apply for as a currently enrolled student, and more and more and more. So I recommend that you go through this website and you find your course syllabi, you register for courses, you do all of the things that is necessary for you, right? You will get more information about this in time, but the point is that this part of the website, your studies and new student, that's going to be very important for you. Digest every single page. Digest everything so that you understand what you can do and how you can do it. At any point in time, if you have any questions, please just contact us. Right? So I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to open up for questions. And I would like you to raise your questions and we can then start taking them from there. I'm going to stop the share right now. There we go. Now you can start asking questions. Please raise your questions. And if necessary, I can share my screen to answer any questions that come in. Let's see. There we go. I was wondering about the prospect of getting a job as an engineering graduate in Sweden, especially non-EU students. I applied for SI scholarship. However, if I didn't manage to get the scholarship, I might go with self-funding options. Thus, I wanted to know whether you have the answer for my concern, as study abroad without scholarship is a big investment. You're very right about that. I did not give you my background. Me and Titis are former students of the university. Where are you from, Titis?
I am from Indonesia, and I'm also an alumni from Chalmers University of Technology in the architecture program.
Right.
2016.
2016, right? That's when you started studying.
Yes, and I graduated 2018.
Right. And I'm originally from India and I studied nanotechnology. Back when I studied in 2009. The program was called microtechnology. Things were slightly bigger at that point in time, and then they got smaller. But the point that I'm trying to get at here is, by saying this, we understand that the investment you make is a big investment. We understand that concern. So the answer to your question is that, to be entirely honest, we don't know what the prospect is. We are talking 2 years in the future. We do not know what the economy will look like. What we can say is this. Chalmers has a very high reputation in Sweden, as I told you earlier. Our employability is very high. We are 81 in the world, or 83 in the world for employability by QS, as far as ranking is concerned. And of course, in the end, industry is going to decide whether you are going to be employed or not, right? Economy is going to decide whether you're going to be employed or not. So when if we look away from just one aspect of which is that aspect, the economy aspect, I would say you have a good chance of being employed. I mean, the educations we have are industry oriented. They are oriented towards employability. They are industry oriented also in the sense that we collaborate with industry in your education, which means that we give you the opportunity to interact with industry from day one. There are going to be guest lectures from companies. There are going to be career fairs from companies. There are going to be major career fairs and minor ones. So ones that at the university level and at the department level. There are going to be lunch lectures where these companies come and talk only about themselves. So it's not about the topic. So a guest lecture would be, they are talking about, let's say, Hitachi or Toyota comes and talks about quality, right? Instead, they might come for a lunch lecture, and in that case, they are there only to talk about Toyota or about Hitachi, right? So this is basically all of the different ways in which you can get in touch with these companies. And then you still can do this on your own. You can get in touch with them through LinkedIn and all of these other platforms that are existent, and you can make connections. And that is how you start building a network towards finding a job. So it doesn't really matter whether you're a non-EU or an EU student, right? It's not really a question of where you come from. It's a question of what do you come to the table with. My one big thing that I would send with you is networking. And the second biggest thing I would send with you is to learn the language. Try and understand as much of the language as you can. You have 2 full years and you are getting free Swedish lessons. Learn. What happens is that people start studying Swedish in the beginning with a lot of enthusiasm, and then first semester, they lose their enthusiasm. And then after that, 1.5 years goes by and you haven't learned enough. Why? Because everybody speaks English. So you will find it very difficult to practice Swedish. It's a cognitive load that you are not willing to take, right? And that's what results in you not learning the language. And once that happens, you end up in a situation where you are not able to contribute to a social environment inside work. So these are the things that I would send with you as far as work is concerned.
We have a lot of questions about sharing housing or coming with family.
Ooh, okay. Good point. And we forgot to bring that up. Thank you for asking that question. For those of you that are traveling with family, you are not part of the guarantee of accommodation as far as family is concerned. You will get the guarantee of accommodation, but it will be only a single occupancy apartment. And the rules for that, if we go to the housing web page and we look at the rules for housing, the obligations state very clearly that these are single occupancy apartments. And if the housing company finds out that you are more than one staying in the apartment, they will annul your contract. So it's very important for those of you that are going to be traveling with family, that you start looking for housing already now. And then what you can do is on the housing page, you can look for that part of the website that is called Without Housing Guarantee. There's a whole bunch of links. The only thing that I would recommend for you then is that you please make sure that you don't fall for any scams, right? People will try to fool you. People will try to take advantage of your innocence. There are bad people all around the world, and Sweden is no exception to it, right? So there will be people that might try to take advantage of your innocence. Just make sure you don't pay anybody in advance. Just make sure that you sign a contract before you do anything. And make sure if somebody is going to show you an apartment, they should be able to pick up a phone, turn on their camera, and show you the apartment, right? So don't fall for a scam.
On the same theme, I just wanted to add that people are asking if it's the student housing is located close to campus or further away. Yeah, you wanna comment?
I can comment on that. So housing in general, whether that is student housing or not, is all over the city, and that is something understandable. Specifically, student apartments are available both near and further away from campus, right? So there are lots of apartments that are as close as like 2 minutes from the library to if you want to walk, it could be 15, 20 minutes or so on and so forth. So there are apartments all over the city. None of them are better than each other. Each of them offers something different, right? So when you are guaranteed an apartment, very often what you will get is, this is the apartment you're getting, sign a contract. That's usually how it happens, as in you are assigned an apartment, not that you have a choice. Sometimes you have a choice, in which case your decision is based on what are the amenities available to you at that place. What do you want it to be? Close to nature? Do you want access to a lake? Or do you want access to public transport? I mean, of course, every student apartment has access to public transport. The point that I'm making is that you can decide it based on, oh, but this one has a TV room and billiards tables. That one has a pub. Maybe I want the one with the pub, or maybe I want the one with the billiards tables. You choose based on your interests, right? I don't want to share my kitchen and my bathroom, so I'm not going to live in a corridor. I want something else. So if you have a choice for that, then of course, go ahead. If you don't have a choice, then what you get is what you get. And you have to say yes, because if you say no, then you lose the guarantee. Then you have to find your own apartment.
You can change later on during your year if you're not happy with your accommodation. Yeah, it's a possibility. So don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Take the one that you get first, because you need a roof.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to add a little bit there as well, Abhilash, because wherever you will live in Gothenburg, you are going to be well connected with the public transport anyway. So you don't have to worry if it's like 20 minutes away or 30 minutes away. Yeah, you just need to have like a good time management, not to be late to your classes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And actually, speaking of that, I just remembered, like way back in 2009 when I was moving to Sweden, there was no guarantee of accommodation for me, right? I had to find my own place. And I was so concerned about the fact that some of the apartments I found were in Mölndal. And Mölndal was supposed to be the next town. And, coming from India, for me, something that is the next town is really far away, right? It takes me an hour and a half maybe getting there. And so I look at Mölndal and I'm like, no, I can't live there. I arrived to Sweden. Mölndal is 20 minutes away.
Exactly.
Gothenburg is a very compact city, right? It's a large city. In Sweden, we are the second largest city. And geographically speaking, we are a very large city because the city limits, if you think about it, go very far. But this includes forests and lakes and all sorts of stuff. The built-up environment is fairly compact and fairly central. So you get from one place to another pretty quickly. Public transport takes you anywhere and everywhere. It includes boats and buses and trams and trains. Like you can get very far in very little time. Both Titis and Linda live about 40 minutes away from Chalmers. One lives in the city and the other one lives outside the city in another town.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both take 40 minutes to get to Chalmers. So think about it, that it's not so difficult, it's not so problematic.
We got a question regarding this as well. And it also connects to the question of student discount.
Yes.
And if there is any discounts for
other stuff.
For traveling in the city.
Right. So you can get a public transport discount as a student discount.
Yeah.
But you have to buy that from the public transport company. We are not the ones selling it.
And trains are for commuting are usually included in that as well. So
not the intercity ones, right? Not the intercity ones. Like you can't take the train to Stockholm on a student discount. You might get one.
It depends on where you live, but the trains are also included in the system.
Yeah. In regards to transportation, I can also mention that if you like biking, Chalmers has its own event as well, where we hand out free bikes sometimes, where you can basically recycle. You get the fun. Recycle the bikes, so you can fix the bikes and then also have it as your own. If you want to.
And public transport includes bikes.
Yeah,
you can buy a 1-year biking pass, and that's like 300 crowns.
Yeah,
they usually say 1 crown per day, and you can like use a bike, right?
Yeah.
I see a question here that's super important. Something about health insurance and whether it fills up the requirement for visa. Yes, it does. So you do not need to buy any kind of health insurance. What you need to get is a home insurance for your apartment, but that is not part of the residence requirements.
But it's usually not that expensive.
Well, home expense. No. I pay like 120 crowns, 140 crowns, or 60 crowns, or something like that.
And that covers also usually a lot of extra stuff.
Yeah. Like I think in my insurance for that 160, it includes like accident insurance if I drop a phone or something like that, or lost my keys. Travel insurance is included.
Yeah. And for you who speak in euro and US dollars,
10 euros.
10 euros.
Or $10, right? Like that's how much a monthly insurance costs. Other questions that we might be able to bring up?
People are talking about the scholarships and whether if you get, like, for example, the avancé,
Mhm.
do you get invoices every semester with the same reduced amount?
Yes.
Or
Yeah,
how does
yeah,
it work?
yeah. So fees are paid per semester, right? So fees are paid per semester.
Yeah.
And that means that you will get an invoice per semester. So if you have a 75% reduction in your fees, then that reduction is applied to each semester. So essentially speaking, you're only paying one semester's worth of fee per year, but that is spread out over 4 payments. Over 2 payments. I'm sorry. What? Yes.
4. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 for the 2 years.
Yes.
4 for the 2 years. So you're essentially paying one semester for the full period, but it's divided over 4 semesters.
And Tim also asks here, he's thanking for the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
for
for
joining.
joining.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm wondering about this. What is the first step in the process to get the Swedish personal number? Do you go straight to the Swedish tax agency website?
So we have an expert in this case who is sitting right next to me. She has just gone through this process recently. So Titis, can you tell us?
Okay, I can tell you a little bit. So the first thing that you need to do is to just arrive in Sweden.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that right now. And you can just come to the Swedish tax agency office here in Gothenburg. There are multiple offices here, but I would recommend the one that is closest to you, basically. They will help you. And by the time you arrive, you can just show your documents like passports and also what do you call it? Like notification of result as well. And they will help you from there.
Yeah.
You will find all the information in the Swedish Tax Agency's website as well, what you need to bring. But yes, it's really straightforward, but you don't have to worry too much right now. You can just wait until you arrive later on.
Yeah. It's a form that you carry with you. It's just a form. You need to book a time and you go there with that form and then it gets done. It's simple as that. It's fairly straightforward. I also see a question here that's very fascinating. I know that this is possible in some countries, but I haven't seen or heard that it's possible to do in Sweden. The question is from Xiaoyu, and she asks, they ask, I'm sorry, I do not know whether it's a woman or a man. Is it possible to send my luggage to the accommodation before I arrive in Sweden? I know that this is possible in Japan.
Yes, and I heard that it's also possible from different European countries as well.
I see.
Yeah. To send some luggages here.
Yeah.
But I think you need to have a contact with the housing company first, whether they can accept that or not.
Right.
I think it depends a lot on the on each company.
Exactly.
I don't think it's very common here.
No, it's not very common. No. So there are ways in which you could try and resolve this. One way is somebody who's already living here, in which case you can ship it to them. Another case is if you have a student buddy, which you will get later on in the year, right? Like, so closer to summer, you will be assigned a student buddy. They might be able to, receive this baggage that you're sending. You might also be able to do that with somebody else. I don't know. But the point is that you can do that through that maybe, but there's no set way of getting that done. I also see a question here about when do we get the student ID so that we can register for student discount. You get that almost immediately as you arrive. So on welcome day, you receive a welcome kit, which includes your student union ID card, which is basically what you use as proof. You will then register on something called Mecenat, MECENAT, and that is where you unlock all of your discounts.
We have another accommodation question here, which is interesting. Will your offer for accommodation be for 2 years or 1 year?
2 years. We are not like another competitor we have on the East Coast. On the East Coast. We are not like our competitor on the East Coast. Our accommodation offers are for 2 years. Yes.
Yes.
A competitor who shall not be named, who shall remain unnamed. Can we get some insights on part-time hours and opportunities? Yes. So there are part-time jobs. It's possible to get part-time jobs. It's possible for you to also do that. We do not recommend that you do so. Studies at Chalmers are full-time studies. They take quite a lot of effort, and you might not be able to do both a physical part-time job and study and then come back the next day refreshed to be able to take on one more full day of course load. So I recommend not doing part-time work, but I understand the need to do so. So please feel, depending on how you can handle your load and things like that, make sure that your grades don't slip. Remember, you are here because you want to graduate and you want to find a full-time job, a well-paying full-time job at the end of your studies, and not falter because you've chosen to do some part-time work. Right. That basically brings us to the end of our webinar. We have basically 30 seconds left, and I do not see a way in which we can take another question without going over time. So I would like to thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Abby.
And thank you, Titis.
Thank you.
For this webinar. Thank you very much, all of you, for your questions. Thank you for all of your hearts and your celebrations. That's very kind of you. We really hope that this webinar has been of help. We will send out this presentation, as I told you. If you have any questions, once again, go to our website, send us an email or chat with us. Read everything that you can find under education followed by new student and education followed by your studies. Those two sections are going to be very important for you. And then finally, that QR code. Scan that, join it, talk to each other, help each other out, make friends, and let us know if you want a new group of something. With that said, take care and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
My computer.